Welcome back to the Whatnauts Reactor Core number 140. I definitely got the number wrong last episode on our Agatha all along one, but 140. Here we are, a good even 140 is where we're at for real this time. My name is Kyle Springer, and I am joined by Melissa Wilkinson. Melissa, how are you?
Hello. Good. Since the last time you saw me, I'm up one movie and one sandwich.
Nice. That's always a good place to be, if you ask me, you know? That's what I've always said, right? It's always good to be up one movie, one sandwich.
Have you had since the last time we spoke mere hours ago?
2 small sandwiches and half of a TV show.
Oh, cool.
So kind of evens out,
Sliders?
I think. Kinda, yeah. Old biscuits that we baked earlier on in the week, and I turned those into sandwiches.
Old Bay biscuits or old biscuits?
Old biscuits, but not like old. Just like we made them on like last Monday. Anyways, no one cares about all of that stuff. Melissa, the penguin. That's what we're here to talk about. Have you ever seen penguins in real life?
All the time. The St. Louis Zoo has a terrific penguin and puffin house.
There you go. I've seen penguins in Australia. They were on their like migration to get to wherever they were going.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and there's a big place you could go that was like, this is where they stop and like they eat and they spend the night. They get up a movie and a sandwich and then they go on their way, right? So I have actually seen penguins in real life, which is fun. It's neat. Good stuff. Melissa.
A privilege. I wish it to every person.
Exactly. What did you think of the show, The Penguin, the spin-off of The Batman by Matt Reeves? I think this one is also produced by him, but this year's show was created. The showrunner was Lauren LaFranc, of course, starring Colin Farrell and Kristen Milioti as 2 of the main characters there. But what did you think?
I was really impressed by this. I had a great time.
Okay, good. I was a little bit more worried that you might not be as into this one as opposed to Agatha that we just watched and also had a great time
because witches are for girls and penguins are for boys.
That's what I've always said too. No, I know you liked the Batman. I know you liked the cinematography, but it is more of like crime drama, which is more up my alley.
I like those. I know
Heat. You do, but like
I like Zodiac. I like them.
You aren't as like, oh, I just need to watch all the ones there are on Netflix like I am.
It's not my personal brand like it is for you.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm glad you enjoyed it. I thought this was fantastic.
Stellar.
Too. I think a great, just kind of quieter piece in that Batman universe. A great character study. It really does a great job of filling out that universe while also not seeming like it's a lesser version.
No.
That was maybe my worry, is that like once you start to do those like, oh, it's a TV show that ties in with the movie, maybe the TV show doesn't quite have the same look or the same budget to be able to make the look that the movie has. And I never felt that with this.
No.
At all.
It's exactly on the same level.
Yeah.
It's the makeup doesn't look any different. It'd be terrible if it did, if suddenly we had to have like the Spirit Halloween version of the Penguin.
Right, yeah.
I like details. The movie, The Batman, is scored by Michael Giacchino, and the Penguin series is scored by his son, Mick Giacchino.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that.
I don't know if I've seen him credited as a composer elsewhere before, but it's incredible work. It carries forward a lot of the themes that were in The Batman, but has its own sound.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I think overall, like if I could say some stuff spoiler free at the top here, yeah, the makeup is still just absolutely stellar. And I think what makes this show so great is you actually get to sit with it for so long,
Yeah.
right? It's not
Yes.
just like that one scene in the iceberg lounge or something like that. No, you get up close and personal, and it stays
Mm-hmm.
on Colin Farrell's makeup and suit that he's in, and it's incredible. It is next
Mm-hmm.
level stuff. I think an absolute standout performance is Kristen Milioti in this.
Yes.
Just absolutely steals the show. As great as
And
Colin Farrell is, yeah, just something to behold.
she's almost the second lead, and I wonder if some of that was to have Colin Farrell spend less time in the makeup chair to have these
Mm,
characters
yeah.
who are nearly as prevalent as the Penguin himself is. But she's an actress I've enjoyed. I know her primarily as the voice of Hank's girlfriend Serena in the last 2 seasons of The Venture Brothers.
Okay. Okay.
Haven't seen her live
That's
action
her.
work
Oh my
quite as much
God.
as that.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow.
Rocco! That's her.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. I'm now connecting that in my head. That's great.
She has these really intense eyes.
Oh
I
yeah.
have seen her in that movie Palm Springs, where she's playing a character who is moderately haunted, although nowhere near as haunted as Sophia. They're making absolute use of those. It's,
Mm.
why pay for special effects? Those eyes are our own natural special effect.
Yeah, absolutely stellar. I also want to give a big shout out to Rhenzy
Yes.
Feliz, I believe is how you say his name, who played Victor Aguilar. Great performance by him. I've seen him
Mm-hmm.
in the Marvel's Runaway show.
Okay.
So I've at least seen him before in something else. He was also really good in that too. But a special shout out here because a great portrayal of someone like myself who has a speech impediment
Yes.
and stutters.
Mm-hmm.
I made a post about this not too long ago when I was watching the show, being like, usually when you see someone who stutters in some kind of media, they are often portrayed as slower or less than, like not all there mentally, or dumber, right? But that is not the case for his character at all. And no one really comments on it. No one really says anything. But he is absolutely treated as a character nonetheless who has his own goals, his ambitions. He's found love. He can do everything just the same, and
Mm-hmm.
you don't get that often. So it's neat for someone like me to be like, huh, hey,
Yes.
that's a good one. I like
I
that.
I
Cool.
I was very excited the first time I heard him stutter. I thought I was looking forward to our discussion
Yeah,
about it. Yes.
absolutely. Absolutely. Um, so yeah, great stuff all around. I would highly recommend it if you have not seen it yet. Go check it out because it's a star-studded cast. It looks incredible. Some great
Mm-hmm.
performances that I'm sure will, if not be nominated, will be racking up some awards and stuff like that. So
Mm-hmm. And it's strong beginning to end.
yes.
We've watched other shows, other franchise spin-off shows here on the podcast that do have lower points or have a filler episode or feel like the finale has like 10 minutes of it missing, like it was
Right. Yeah.
supposed to do more, and then the budget got cut or there's something they weren't able to do because, well, it relies on this movie and we had to postpone this movie, so this show has changed. This feels like a whole thing. it uh
Absolutely.
it doesn't feel like it's doing excessive amounts of setup. It doesn't have a lot of baggage it has to carry to fit into a larger universe.
Yeah. It also does a great job of playing in that universe without needing to
Yeah.
explain the previous
Mm-hmm.
movie. You know Batman exists. You know that there was a flood that ruined the entire city, or at least that portion. And there's kind of a power vacuum, like, right? Which is oddly enough also how Daredevil kind of got started, the Marvel Netflix stuff, right? It was in the
Yeah.
events of that first Avengers film, and afterwards there's this power vacuum which allowed for Kingpin to kind of rise to power there. So plays in a real similar space. So go check it out if you have not. I thought it was
Mm-hmm.
fantastic. But Melissa, let's get into spoilers on
Oh boy,
this stuff.
yes.
Let's jump right in. Is there something that you wanted to talk about first that really stood out to you?
This is a show where I was never sure where it was going to end,
Right.
and who was going to be alive at the end of it. And boy, are there some surprises there.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
For example, when Oz's mother, who is suffering from Lewy body dementia, not to say that every person who has it might necessarily be suffering. I don't know all the stories, but this character in particular, with the resources she has, she's very unhappy. She feels unwell. And she tells her son, if I ever get to the point where I can't take care of myself, or I'm not there anymore, like the way I used to be, she's like, take my life. I don't want to continue to live. And you've got that hanging over your head. Is it going to get that bad that he needs to do that? And then there's a turn where it seems like she is going to kill him.
Yeah. They have
And
a
then
very unique relationship, I feel like.
boy,
Yeah.
howdy.
Yeah.
A boy singular. Notice I did not say boys howdy.
Right. Yeah. Boy, howdy. Where's your brothers? Yeah, it's interesting because he really has this affection for his mom to the point where it's almost smothering, right? Like he's
Oh boy, yes.
he's almost trapped her in this house despite saying, like, I want to give you the life you deserve, right? He is still genuinely trying to give her the life he thinks she deserves and help her, but it's also a mix of his own, like, can't see past his own, like, immediate circumstances to actually give her some of that stuff that she actually needs, and also her stubbornness too, and her like how scared she is of him, like how much she does love and adore him, but is also like, but I also know what you did. Like I don't know exactly, but I know what you did, right? Like,
yeah.
And she's scared of that. And she doesn't want to upset this balance. And so they're just kind of stuck where they are. And yeah, it's a really, really fascinating relationship. So good stuff with that.
Did not see any of those flashbacks coming.
Yeah.
Where you see that he has two brothers that have died long ago when they were children. And he says vaguely, the city took them. Then it was just me and my ma left, and I had to take care of her. I guess they technically die by city infrastructure in that he traps them in a sewer.
Yeah.
And doesn't go back for them.
Fills
in
with
a rainstorm.
rainwater. Yeah.
Just lets them drown. Boy, wow. This
rough, yeah.
This show got really gnarly in so many different ways. Not just in terms of graphic things you might see, like when he just lights up the Marconi family, or like all the shootings and stabbings. There's the haunting things, like Sophia being trapped in Arkham for 10 years.
Yeah.
Like the brothers just being left to drown. Like, you made fun of me too many times, or I perceived you making fun of me too many times. I want this time with my mom. I want to be the only child left.
Yeah. Some wild stuff there. Um, yeah, and then I think on the flip side of that, seeing Sophia's relationship to her family and how it's not the exact same, but similarly, right? How Oswald was kind of bullied and picked on when he was younger, even by his brothers, to the point where he wanted to get rid of them to be closer to his mom. She is kind of, she being Sophia is not bullied per se. I guess you could say bullied, but like discounted because she's a woman, right? Like we don't think you can handle it, or right. You're not meant for this line of work or what the boys do here. And she was always much more capable than they realized, right? Or gave her credit for. So that when she did start kind of sticking her head up and becoming a bit of a problem for the family, they were like, all right, well, we got to do something about this. And they framed her and stuck her in Arkham for 10 years. And then she comes back to murder all of them.
I did appreciate that her brother, Angelo,
I think so.
Alberto,
there you go.
that he was always on her side. He always believed in her. He was trying to help her. Just seems like he was kind of caught up in their father's web the same way she was, and there wasn't much he could truly do.
Right,
but
yeah.
That was a sincere relationship between the two of them. She wasn't completely alone in her family.
Yeah. Yeah, and then just to see the two of them having a bit of a history in the past and then kind of reconnecting and them kind of slowly realizing they've been playing each other this whole time, right? They're doing they're following a similar trajectory, and it's putting them at odds with one another. I think is just a beautiful way to kind of balance this show and end it with this, like, okay, well, how do these two people confront one another here, and what happens?
How do they hurt each other in these very specific ways? Again, the fact that Oz and Sophia are both alive at the end of the series, and that he has trapped her in Arkham once again. She's right back where she started, and that she has not only exposed his, thinking she was going to expose his crime to his mother, but then she finds out, and we all find out that his mom knew the whole time. I knew you killed your brothers, and I just had to live with it.
Yeah.
I tried to have you killed once.
Yeah, right.
That is the one thing that I felt like was missing, was exactly how how was Rex the gangster going to kill Oz? How did his mom stop it? We see him as a child with that leg brace, but we don't have an origin for like the facial scarring that he has. And I was wondering if that was going to turn out to be part of it.
Yeah. It could just be that the city took him and did some things, right? You don't really know. Yeah, but I mean, we don't know if there will be a season 2 of this show or not. We do know that the Penguin has a couple lines or a couple scenes in the Batman 2 and is signed on for a third one.
Cool.
I believe is the news there. So I think they have room to play if they wanted to do a second season fit in between the Batman 2 and 3.
Was that Gotham PD show officially shelved? I think there was at one point.
I think so.
It was going to be part of this, or it was going to be, we're doing 2 connective shows between the Batman and the Batman 2.
Yeah, it was going to be its own kind of show. And I think I'm pretty sure that's kind of got put on the shelf.
Sure.
But if they can create this kind of quality in a spin-off for the Batman, honestly, I'd kind of love for them to explore a different character. explore something else. We've seen, I think both the movie and the show has taken a lot of work to kind of build out the kind of criminal elements, the like mafia like families that are in here, which is also an odd one because Sophia kills her whole family, so that like a whole swath of them have just been wiped out.
Yeah, it's like the movie ends with there being a vacuum in power, and this show also ends with a new, different vacuum in power.
Yeah, it continuing people continuing to struggle for that power. And yeah, I would love to see another character be in the spotlight in some other kind of spin-off way, where either it's one we see in the Batman 2 or introducing them in the show so that they can be in one of the movies down the road. But I don't really have a preference as long as it's not the Joker. I that's the only one that I don't want. But a Riddler would be interesting, right?
Yeah, what's the Riddler doing now?
Yeah, or the Scarecrow. I think would be an interesting one too. But I know Batman does tend to have a large number of real out there villains. I would kind of like one that kind of straddles the fence. I think would be interesting, right? Somehow if you could straddle that fence, like a more realistic villain, not the Joker that like I fell into a vat of acid and all of that stuff, but something that's a little more believable, but also is like, but he's right there next to the Penguin, right? You know what I mean?
Right.
This guy laughs like
I've heard rumors or speculation that the villain of this Batman 2, I've heard Clayface and I've heard Mr. Freeze, and I don't know how solid either of those are. Or if it is a movie that, like the first one was primarily the Riddler, and then the Penguin was second tier, and then you just get Barry Keoghan being the Joker for 90 seconds. Right, perhaps the second movie also has room for multiple villains.
Right, yeah.
It's also going to be 3 hours long, probably.
Oh,
maybe a robust 312.
Make it 4 hours and give me an intermission. Hell yeah.
The Brutalist style, yes.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, God, on one hand, I would love Clayface. I think that'd be so cool, but that would also be very fantastical as he like morphs into this monster, right? But who knows? Who knows what we have coming down the road for this universe?
If Gotham City is a city that has been through such terrible disaster, one of the things that may be using to heal is the performing arts, the theater. And perhaps, is it not from there that Clayface, maybe it's more movies that Clayface gets his origin story, but he is an actor.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. So I think that would be really interesting. Any other thoughts on Victor Aguilar and how he kind of fits into this whole thing?
I like his journey. I like that he is a sweet kid just trying to survive. I like that he sees the best in Oz, and Oz shows the best of himself to Victor. For most of the time, not right there at the end.
Yeah. I was so sad they killed him at the end. I was like, no, he's a great character. Leave him be, please.
Right. But like, he would live on only to become corrupted. Like, what is the best you could help for Victor Aguilar continuing to live in this world?
I feel like this was one of the show's ways to keep the nerds like me kind of guessing and trying to investigate of like who is this guy, because I mean, when you first see him, what is he doing? He's stealing the hubcaps and tires off of the Penguin's car. That's the exact same origin story that the Batman finds Jason Todd in.
Oh, sure.
And so some people were like, oh, is this somehow Jason Todd? I don't know. It's not. But then also, as the show is very clear of like, if this kid continues on, he will become more and more corrupted by the Penguin, by Gotham, all of this stuff. He could end up becoming a real villain, a real problem. And of course, people were like, well, his name is Victor, and there's Victor Zsasz, the like serial killer out there, right? Like, could it be him? It's not him. Right, it's just his own
Victor Freeze
character. Right, yeah. There's also Victor Freeze, but it felt almost like one of those things of like, who is this character going to turn out to be? Like, he felt like a plant in that way. Yes, and then at the end, they're just like, no one. He's just some kid, right? Which I think is actually a really good move on their part. I don't think you need to do the whole, like, what we do here, like the YouTube Easter egg, like, oh, but did you see this and how it connected with that? And this guy's here, but, you know.
We so rarely get to spend time with just a citizen of Gotham City.
Yeah.
Who doesn't come from anywhere special and maybe isn't going anywhere special and has no larger comic book identity.
Yeah.
He's just a kid.
Yeah. And I like that because of a decision like that. It lends a sense of maturity to the series, right? It is not trying to do all the Easter egg stuff. Not that you can't make great things with all the Easter egg stuff, because of course there's stuff like that out there and I love it. But
we love it.
Yeah. So, yeah, I enjoyed his character a lot. I just felt so bad for him at the end because he was just like, dude, I'm your right hand man. I'm your number one guy. Like,
right. And like, he could have become corrupted, or maybe he could have kept Oz
on a decent
who's done
path.
So many terrible. Right. Could have kept him, given him some sort of code to live by. You know, could have kept him on relatively the more straight and narrow.
Yeah. Yeah.
What a shame.
I
think the big...
I was just going to say, it's a darker side of Batman finding his Robins here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Batman's never had to kill a Robin, right? Other people do that for him. He doesn't do it. I don't know every Robin.
I don't think there's been a story. Well, there's like Elseworld stuff, right? But I don't think. Yeah, that's not. So no.
Maybe that's a project I'll work on in 2025 to learn every Robin. How many are there? Like 15?
Oh God, I don't know the exact number off the top of my head. Trivia night 2025. Here we go. How many Robins has Batman had?
We'll do a game that's like, which of these is a fake Robin and which of them are real Robin?
Which Robin did this? Right? And we just named some event or
Robin
thing, right?
or bullshit will be our new game. I think the biggest lead into the future of this universe is when Sophia is back in Arkham and she gets a letter from Selina Kyle, because they are half sisters under Carmine Falcone.
Yeah, which I think is a great reveal, also considering what I just said of like, the show's really not interested in Easter eggs, all that. There might be a couple in there, right? But it's really not. So to hear that at the end is just like, whoa, they're half sisters? Oh, okay.
Well, we all knew this. It's in the movie. She finds out Carmine's her dad. And I think it makes sense. Like, Selina is a character who feels a real sense of connection with other women in her situation. I absolutely buy that she would want to reach out. And, you know, if she's the daughter of this terrible carousing man, who, like, Sophia must be well known. You know, they are a well-known family. Sophia's not a secret.
Yeah.
She's probably genuinely does want to reach out to at least her and maybe see any other half Falcones out there.
Yeah.
Can I collect them all?
Yeah, no, that is absolutely something we knew, especially if you read between the lines and stuff like that. It felt like one of those things. If you aren't hunting for the Easter eggs, like that if you're just kind of casually like you might not have put that to get like, oh yeah, they are related. Huh, I didn't think about that, right?
And I'd love to see those two together, Kristen Milioti and Zoe Kravitz. What a team.
Absolutely. I think that'd be great. There is I think the current Catwoman series written by Tina Amini, I believe. No, that's not her name. What is her name? Let me look this up. But the current Catwoman series right now has been really, really great. And there is a stint where Catwoman is in prison and like breaking out of that. I cannot find it at the moment real easily. Is it?
Well, while you
it's
Google
TV something. Yeah.
Well, you Google. I think besides the Catwoman and Sophia Gigante connection, the other thing this show seems most concerned with setting up.
Teenie Howard. That's who did
Teenie Howard. Thank you. Is just the state of Gotham itself. Helping us get to know the city better, get to know its neighborhoods better, the detail in the geography between this show and the movie and how consistent they are with each other. Like the exact same maps are in there, the same like neighborhood names. It's so lush. And that did seem like something the show was setting up, was the possibility of a no man's land or some other story that is very dependent on the logistics of how Gotham works.
Yes, which actually is not a Batman story I have read, but there is a very famous Batman story called Batman No Man's Land.
Yes.
So who knows what they'll be pulling from, because I remember in the Batman we saw hints of Hush in there, or the Court of Owls, stuff like that. And I like when they hint at this larger, like there's things happening, there's gears turning, right? But that's not necessarily the story we are telling here.
The scope of these two things put together, and how there are these immense stories happening that have nothing to do with other stories that are happening parallel to them.
Yeah.
Great work.
Yeah, absolutely. How did you feel about Batman not showing up in this show? Did you wish he would have been like mentioned once or twice more, or like shown up in a scene in the background or something?
I didn't expect. I don't feel like there was any expectation set for connective tissue that strong. I mean, I was surprised when we got that one Gotham police officer who's the guy from Our Flag Means Death, who shows up for one scene.
Yeah. What's his name in Our Flag Means Death? Something that's like Ricky Hands or something like that. It's something like that. Yeah.
He's in it for a scene, but yeah, I was like, we might see Jeffrey Wright on TV. That might be what we get.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
I was expecting a little bit more of a mention of him, not to actually like see him, but to have like, especially in some of the circles that Penguin is running in, just having someone like, hey, you don't think the Batman's going to be here tonight, right? And like, they're like, no, he's fine. He's off, you know. I did see some people online kind of mentioning like, I don't know, man, with the bomb that explodes in that underneath the city and it falling through, I would have expected to see Batman show up in that. And I think normally I would agree with that. I think in this case, the Batman is so new. He's so young that he's still kind of learning his own ropes, his limits. I don't think he's going to be out there every night at every, like, something like this. I'm sure he noticed it and is keeping an eye on it, but
he also
I don't feel like
might
he needs to show up.
Right, or maybe after the events of The Batman. I know he stayed at Gotham Square the whole night and like helped get survivors out. Maybe he just needs like
He's just
actual
sleeping.
rehabilitation time. Like, he's probably very injured, very hurt. Maybe Alfred has him on bed rest or something. Maybe he's in a hospital.
Mr. Wayne, you're grounded.
Drink your soup. You're good, Alfred, I'll make you a grilled cheese.
Alfred, please, no. Who knows?
My real dad.
Right, yeah. Good stuff. God, I don't know. Yeah, I really, really enjoyed this. Yes. I think this was a great series.
Wonderful look at the criminal underworld, how many different layers and circles and like customs there are. A lot of great character actors in this. Clancy Brown and Francois Chow. What is this, Christmas?
Great stuff. Great stuff from the whole cast all around. Mark Strong, all of them, you know.
I mean, they don't call the man Mark Week.
Right? Absolutely. Who is that his real name, or is that a stage name?
It's just normal enough that I'd be shocked if he did make it up. Mark Strong's a guy's name. A guy can have that. Sure, just anyone.
Yeah. But like, I don't know. That almost does feel like man, I really want to give strong performance. I'm Mark Strong. Strong performances all around, right? And that's just the name stuck. Who knows?
Who knows? This is at least the third DC villain he's played.
Yeah.
Because he's the bad guy in Shazam.
Yeah.
And I have not seen this movie, but I looked it up on IMDb once. He is Sinestro in the Ryan Reynolds Green Lantern, correct?
He was great as Sinestro.
I bet he was. I'd probably enjoy watching the movie just for him. I love Mark Strong.
I would love to continue to see him do more different villains in the DC universe.
I'd love to see him play like a leading hero. He's a guy who, like, well, frequently he has been a good guy. I don't think I've ever seen a project that is Mark Strong #1 on the call sheet.
Yeah.
And I think it's about time.
Interesting. Good stuff. I don't know if I have much else to say.
My only other note, there was that one girl in Eve's group who looked distractingly like Anna Torv. Just wanted to know if you were also thinking about that blonde girl with the eye makeup.
I don't think I noticed that.
Oh, it was all I could think of.
Interesting. I'm trying to, because like that, I don't even think I clocked her then.
Maybe it's just the long, straight blonde hair that is the exact Olivia Dunham haircut from Fringe.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, huh. I'm going to be watching this series again with my partner because she was interested in checking it out. And I was like, do you mind if I go ahead and watch it for the show and then we can watch it together down the road? She was like, yeah, that's fine. So I'll keep an eye out for Fake Me Out Anna Torv. God, she's great too. She's good too. Anyways, any other kind of last thoughts, last things you want to say?
Costumes. Just got to shout out the costumes. Production design as a whole here.
Great lighting.
Terrific.
Too, in all of this. I never felt like any of the scenes were too dark.
Right. And the show feels it's not especially colorful, except for Sophia's outfits, but it never feels like that gloomy and grimy that it becomes a turnoff.
Right.
Which has got to be a hard line to walk.
Indeed. Well, good stuff. I think we will wrap our little spoiler cast up right there. So, Melissa, where can the people find you on the internet?
You can email me just the old-fashioned way. Drop me a line. Tell me what you want to see Clayface do in the Batman 2. Write to me at yourhostmelissa@gmail.com.
Indeed. If you guys want to follow me, I am at YoKyleSpringer. And if you guys would like to stay up to date with all of the stuff that we do here at the Whatnauts, we are at the Whatnauts Official on Threads. So please go like, share, and subscribe. That would help us out a ton. You guys know the deal with all of that. If you're watching this on YouTube, we got plenty more videos for you right there on that side of the screen. That would help us out a bunch as well. But yeah, this has been number 140 of the Whatnauts Reactor Core. We will see you all next time. Bye.
Bye.